That same year, Denzel made another excellent choice by playing the South African activist Steve Biko in the biographical film Cry Freedom. Denzel was nominated for his first Academy Award for Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
It means that your peers appreciate what you're doing, you know, and they respect your craft, and in a particular moment they're saying, you know, we respect and we appreciate what you're doing.
Denzel was appreciated in several more films, mastering a number of foreign accents along the way. 1989 was an eventful year for Denzel. His daughter Katya was born, and he was cast in Ed Zwick's masterpiece, Glory, as the runaway slave-turned-soldier, Trip.
In Glory, that character, I felt close to that character. Yeah, I felt like I understood him maybe more than some of the other ones.
The movie was a smash hit, and this time, Denzel won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
Fresh off his Academy win, Denzel played in 2 Spike Lee movies back-to-back. In Mo Better Blues, the actor was cast as legendary trumpetist Bleak Gilliam, and then, in 1992, Denzel took on the title character in the 3-hour-plus epic Malcolm X.
I wouldn't say any part is a part of my life, because that suggests that it may be finished. You know, it's never going to get better. So I wouldn't call it a part of my life, and I have prepared for films in different ways. Like even Mo Better Blues, I tried to play the trumpet for a long time. In Malcolm X, it really was 11 years of preparation in a sense.
In the meantime, Denzel's and Pauletta's number of children doubled. In 1991, Pauletta gave birth to twins, Olivia and Malcolm. The next year, Denzel was nominated for a 3rd Academy Award. He was very relaxed and humble about the nomination. But when the award finally went to Al Pacino for The Scent of a Woman, some naysayers claimed that racism was at work. Denzel did not agree.
Al Pacino. He's nominated for 8 Academy Awards. He had never won until the 8th time. Now, I think he's white, Italian, American. So what does he say? Does he say, oh, is it racism, or oh, is that, you know, is he not exceptional? To me, he's an exceptional actor. But he lost 7 times until the 8th time. But they only give out 4 awards, 2 actor, 2 supporting actor, out of all of the films. So it's very difficult to win. In 75 years, maybe, 280, 300 people have won. So maybe in that regard, yes, it's exceptional, but I think that any really fine performance, good performance, has a chance.
Denzel's fine performances continued. After a few lighthearted roles, he took on the role of an investigative journalist in The Pelican Brief. The hardworking actor did his homework.
I worked with the Washington Post. I did my research with them down in D.C., and I found them to be obsessed with the work. But most of them I think people are of integrity, and so I tried to instill that in the character.
Working on The Pelican Brief had a few obvious attractions.
To work with Julia Roberts, when I read the screenplay, I knew right away, because I could read it, and it felt like 20 minutes. I couldn't wait to get to the next page, so that's always a good sign to me. And then also to work with, I think, one of the great directors, Alan Pakula.
With all it had going for it, Denzel knew the movie was going to be a hit.
Yes, I've made conscious choices, certain films that I knew were going to be commercial films, like The Pelican Brief. I mean, that wasn't a labor of love necessarily, because you knew you had these elements. You had a John Grisham novel that everybody goes to read his novels, and you had Julia Roberts, who hadn't made a picture in 2 or 3 years. There's a lot of anticipation. It wasn't hard for me to figure out that this had a lot of momentum going into it.
Denzel was right. Pelican Brief was a smash hit, earning upwards of $100 million. It gave him the courage to jump headfirst into Philadelphia. It was 1993. It was not at all a sure thing because this movie was grappling with issues America was not yet comfortable with, such as homosexuality and AIDS.
A film like Philadelphia was a labor of love. We thought we'd make a fine film and hopefully people would come, but we had no idea that we'd make over $200 million around the world.
In 1995, Denzel starred in Crimson Tide with Gene Hackman. The dazzling actor had another colossal hit on his hands, earning almost $19 million on its first weekend.
There really hasn't been a film, other than maybe like Eddie Murphy movies, where there was an African American in the lead and they spent $50 million. So there was something riding on it, you know. I felt a little, not pressure, but it would go through my mind that if this didn't do well, it would be hard to, it would be that much harder the next go around.
In 1995, Denzel was exhausted by his non-stop performances. It was time for a vacation. The Washingtons packed up and set off for Africa. President Nelson Mandela welcomed the family to South Africa, where he and his countrymen continued to appreciate Denzel's role in the 1987 movie Cry Freedom, which brought worldwide attention to the evils of apartheid. At the same time, Denzel and Pauletta renewed their wedding vows in front of the Archbishop of South Africa, Desmond Tutu.
The vacation was wonderful for Denzel, but when he returned, he hit the ground running. In the movie Courage Under Fire, the actor stepped into the role of a U.S. Army officer who must investigate the worthiness of a Medal of Honor recipient played by Meg Ryan. He researched the part. Denzel's tremendous capacity to empathize helped him to bring substance and meaning to the role.
It became more of a responsibility as I talked to more and more soldiers and realized, wow, they're trusting me with their stories and they're expecting me to deliver. And it's been a pleasure and a relief to talk to them. We went to a dinner Saturday night, the Patriots dinner, the Medal of Honor Society gives every year. They decided to take the dinner that they have to use it to honor us. They gave me a special award, and they gave the film an award. And every one of them talked about how they love the film and loved how we are showing a side of them that hasn't been shown, and the fact that they're human and frail and sensitive like everyone else.
Denzel liked the fact that the film gave the public a rare and badly needed look inside the heart of the average soldier.
Very few films, you know, deal with the emotional issues, of the psychological issues of war. The Rambos say we kill 80,000 of them and none of us die and there's no blood on our side and it doesn't seem to bother anybody. That's not the reality. Man after man, woman after woman that I spoke to who fought in war, who have killed and who have seen friends killed, talked about how they, not so much how nobody sees them because they weren't looking for attention, but they just seemed to pour it out to me in a way that surprised me, because I had that Rambo image of soldiers who were tough and they never, you know, but they're human beings with children. They're human beings that are still trying to come to terms with killing or having close friends killed.
Courage Under Fire was another box office bonanza. After several more hits and a couple of misses at the box office, Denzel found himself starring in another biopic. This time the subject was Reuben Hurricane Carter, a middleweight boxing champion who was falsely imprisoned for a triple murder he did not commit. The Hurricane was Denzel's second round with Soldier Story director Norman Jewison.
I don't try to manipulate the audience. I try to be honest. Norman and I work very hard on the words, on the material, and then of course I work as hard as I can on the character, and then I try to just listen and see what happens within the circumstances of each scene and within the circumstances of the story.
The real Reuben Carter was not what Denzel expected.
I was amazed. I expected to meet a very angry man, or at least a bitter man. And that's not the man I met at all. I met a very intense man, but a very kind person, a warm, loving person who said that he wouldn't change anything in his life, that everything that has happened to him is made him who he is.
Coming up, with another box office triumph in his hands, Denzel is nominated for another Oscar.
You can not get it. I don't worry about it too much. But I have to also think about what it means for other people who are looking at me, you know, especially my people, you know. I know a lot of them really look up to me. I remember the other night, this woman said, "Oh, I know you're so nervous. I'm so worried for you." I'm not nervous. I said, "You're nervous." She said, "Yeah, because I just want you to win so much." And I didn't, you know, it didn't dawn on me that other people have these feelings about it, and it does represent something to the African American community. So hopefully I can make them happy.
Denzel made them happy with a Golden Globe win for his lead role in Hurricane instead. The real Hurricane, Reuben Carter, attended the ceremony with Denzel.
You know, he's been through a lot. And I would say to him all the time, I said, "Man, just enjoy yourself, you know, have fun, enjoy this ride, you know." And he's talking to the media and the limousines and they're flying you around. I said, "Just have a good time, you deserve it." He lost 20 years of his life, you know, and you can't replace that, but, you know, you can enjoy what you have left, so.
In 2000, Denzel starred in the racially charged high school football movie Remember the Titans. He drew from his own personal experience to fill out the true life character.
You know, I think a part of it for me too was just getting a chance to coach, because I've been coaching, you know, kids for most of my life, and to make a movie where I was playing the coach, I was like, ooh, I kind of like that, you know, but. It had as much to do with those smaller kind of things like that, and the fact that it was Jerry Bruckheimer, who I really believe in as a filmmaker, as a producer, and we've had success before. So when he asked me, I couldn't refuse him.
For all of his career so far, Denzel had always played good guys. He felt a certain responsibility to the African American community to be a good role model. But he was also ready to try something new.
You know, variety is the spice of life, as they say. I'm always looking to do something different. You know, for many years, I sat in a chair like this, and people would say, "When are you going to play the bad guy? You know, you're scared to play. He's always goody two-shoes." And I said, "All right, I got something for you." I don't know what they're saying now, but I think I did a pretty good bad guy.
In 2001, Denzel was cast as Detective Alonzo Harris in a crime thriller called Training Day.
I play an undercover cop who's dealing drugs. He's a murderer, liar, cheats on his wife, and ultimately he's murdered, which is what he should be. So I still think he's a good guy. He just has a twisted point of view.
The movie was a resounding success. After one win for supporting actor and 3 nominations, Denzel won the Academy Award for Best Actor in a Leading Role. It was a major breakthrough for African Americans. Before he won, Denzel knew it would be one of the major themes he would bring up in his acceptance speech.
I think about Sidney Poitier, because no African American actor has won for Best Actor. Only Sidney Poitier, and that was 36 years ago. So I know I would say something about him.
With hardly a chance to relax and enjoy his victory, Denzel was back at work in another new role.
In the fall, I'm going to direct a film in October. So I'm very excited about that because it's almost like starting over again. I mean, I know a lot because I've been in this business a while and I know how films are put together. But now I'm going to have my chance to put it together, so I'm excited about that.
Though he'd never officially directed before, he had plenty of directing experience.
I've directed myself in most of the movies I've done. I've directed myself. Not most of them, but quite a few. I've had to direct myself because I couldn't trust the director.
The true story of Antwone Fisher's young and difficult life touched Denzel deeply.
I knew I wanted to be a part of it, either as a producer or in some capacity. And that turned into me working with Antwone and working together with Antwone and developing the material, which took 3 or 4 years. As we got closer and closer to what we wanted, you know, I felt more and more confident about being the one to direct it.
Denzel feels that working on Antwone Fisher has changed his life for the better.
Days that I feel like I want to give up or whatever, and I think about Antwone, and I realize, you know, what do I have to complain about? Or am I reaching out to help somebody? You know, because you never know who you affect. You know, you never know what a kind word can do. You never know what a kind gesture can do to help someone.
Denzel probably knows what effect he has on his own children. So far, he's allowed them to make their own decisions about whether or not they want to follow in his footsteps.
I don't encourage them. I don't discourage them. I have one daughter who's a dancer, and she plays the piano. And my son, her twin brother, he wants to be an actor. He's always in front of the camera any chance he gets. My other two don't seem to be interested in it at all, which is fine with me. You know, maybe one day they'll do some work behind the scenes or cameraman or something. I don't know, but I just want them all to go to college. That's my requirement.
As far as the lovely Pauletta is concerned, she is re-energizing her interest in performing, something that she put aside while her children were young. Denzel is her biggest fan. All the while, the Washingtons have consistently been extremely generous to charitable causes over the years. Denzel and Pauletta donated $1 million to Nelson Mandela's Children's Fund in South Africa after their visit a few years back. In 2004, Denzel was invited to visit an Army medical center in San Antonio, Texas, which treats soldiers who are injured in combat zones. Denzel was so moved, he decided to make a substantial contribution for the construction of what's called a Fisher House, a nearby hotel where family members can stay while the soldier is being treated. No matter what, Denzel stays real.
The audience is paying their hard-earned money to see you, and I take that part of it very seriously. But you know, the rest of it, I don't need much. I mean, you know, I'm a pretty simple guy. I went out and bought some suits finally to do these interviews. You know, I still wear my $39 Casio G-Shock that I got in 1989. It works just fine. And one day I'm gonna get some socks. But my mother always taught me to keep it simple. You know, and I believe in that philosophy, and you know, I just keep it simple. I had a job to do, and the biggest job I have to do is raise my kids, you know, and then my profession is acting, so I decided to get the job out.